Hello. Do you ever feel burnt out from taking care of others? Do you find it hard to prioritize pleasure and nourishment for yourself? If you answered yes to either of those questions, then stay with me because I'm going to share a couple powerful tools, rituals to really support you in shifting that dynamic. Because if that is the case, you may have a very active but imbalanced mother goddess archetype. And so as we go into the mother archetype, the mother goddess archetype, what is really important to know is that our society has really, under the patriarchal structure that we've been under for the past 5,000 years, we have really shifted what was the original energy of the mother goddess archetype into a mother archetype that is one of self-sacrifice and martyrdom. And so it's really important for those of us, and I feel like in our society, whether you're an actual physical mother or not, the energy of the mother is so glorified that it impacts all of us, and it can show up in other areas of your life as well. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's between you and a child. It could be between, or you and your own child. It could be between you and other children, between you and animals, between you and projects, between you and a partner. There's a lot of different ways that this energy manifests itself, and the way that it creates the imbalance for you if this is something that you struggle with. And so I think it's really important to note that this is the oldest archetype. I mean, every single one of us came from a womb. Every single one of us came from a womb. So the mother archetype has been around since day one, since before day one. And it has been revered for thousands of years. I mean, we have, dating back to Paleolithic times, we have little statuettes, the Venus figurines that show the energy of the pregnant goddess, the pregnant woman. And woman was equated with that goddess energy. And in her positive characteristics, her positive attributes, she was devoted, loving, nurturing, dedicated. She loved tending to her offspring. She was really in touch with the natural world. There's an abundance energy there. The mother archetype is equatable to the summer period, the full pregnancy period. And so in her positive light, she is very benevolent, but also very balanced, right? So the mother goddess archetype in the light really understands that in order to nurture, she must nourish herself, right? Like what goes out must also come in at least equal measure. And what's happened is under patriarchal structure, men have began the process of glorifying the devoted mother, the sacrificial mother, right? At the expense of the crone, which became vilified, right? And the maiden, part of that little trinity there, the triple goddess. The maiden was glorified for her youthful appearance, but really for the fertility that would take her into motherhood, right? And so the qualities, other qualities of maiden and crone were really of women who aligned with that, were pushed away, and the mother energy was exalted, but it was the mother energy of sacrifice, of taking care of the home, breeding, right? And becoming sort of stuck in that structure. And even though we have evolved a lot in this way in the last 100 years, even though we've changed a lot and women are now not solely expected to dedicate themselves to reproduction, there is still a societal construct that really holds the women's feet to the fire in this respect, right? I mean, women are basically expected to be able to want to reproduce and to do that for themselves, if that's what they desire, of course, but also for their husband or for whomever, right? And so what happens is that there are some really serious and significant wounds that come with the mother archetype. Mostly this relates to codependency and, as I mentioned before, martyrdom, right? So this type of energy can become very embroiled. And so, as I mentioned before, it's not just with children, right? And it's not just with your own children. If you have an active mother type, and we probably all know that or recognize it in ourselves, right? It is the person who is always taking care of everybody else. We see astrologically, we see this in the sun sign of, or in the sign of Cancer, that nurturing, that outpouring of energy, the person, often a woman, but not always a woman, who wants to take care, who identifies as a woman would be a better way of saying that. The person who wants to take care of everybody else and does it, prioritizes their needs over her own, right? If somebody needs her, she is there, whatever it is, her emotional energy, her resources, her time, right? And it is this, the imbalanced mother archetype. The imbalanced mother will jump in and take care of everything, even though she might neglect to take care of herself. And so there is also oftentimes a not enoughness, especially I feel like now that women are expected to still be mothers and also are, expected to work on an equal playing field with men. And a lot of women really want to have a career that is separate from mothering. And so there is a juggling that's going on here that causes a lot of times even more deprivation. And so what is really important, I feel like, and typically with these archetypes, I've been talking about activating archetypes within, and certainly I'll briefly touch on activating the mother archetype, but really with the mother archetype, a lot of us have it very strongly instilled within us. And again, it doesn't mean that you have children of your own. It's just that this archetype is so exalted in our society that we are all extremely familiar with it. And we tend to either fall into the category of it or have, still have it within us, but have rejected it. And so we, as we navigate this, I have found that for a lot of people, it's not so much activating the archetype as it is understanding how the archetype is operating within them, how they can balance the energy of the archetype within them, and what they can do to support themselves to bring in what they need in order to not end up burnt out, sick, depleted, etc. It is really about, for the mother archetype, making sure that she is self-full. And I really say self-full instead of selfish, right? Because we have been taught that to take care of the self. Women have been taught, and it goes along with this mother archetype. The mother archetype is expected to show up for the pleasure of others, right? And not necessarily take care of her own needs. And if she does, so for a mother, goes to the spa or does things like this, especially if she does them often, it is often perceived like, oh, she is, neglecting her duties, she's selfish in some way. And even if it's not perceived outwardly by that way, we may hold the internalization of that possibility because that's what we've been trained to believe is true. And so there are all these stigmas attached to mothering, how to be the right kind of mother. And so as we shift this paradigm, it's incredibly important to recognize that the right kind of mother is what is right for you, what is sustainable for you, and what allows you to show up for others in a way that with your cup full. And to show up for others with a full cup means that you have to make sure that the cup is filled, right? And so you cannot hold the heart of others unless you can hold your own heart first. And I think that's really important to remember as you navigate this. And so I promised you some tools for this. And so I want to, let me share a few of who the mother goddesses are before I jump into the tools, so that as you work with this, and with the goddess, especially if we go back to the original mother deities, this energy was a very balanced energy. Of course, as patriarchy took over, we see a shift in this. Like we see, you know, Demeter, you know, lose herself when Persephone is taken into the underworld. So much so that she causes the entire agricultural system to shut down. And so we start to see where there is a shift in the paradigm. And also, we also see where the energy is very authentic and true. And so some of the mother goddesses, and I'm trying to name some from a variety of cultures here. We've got Demeter, known as Ceres in Roman mythology, Frigga in Norse, Gaia, Isis, Yemaya, Bast, Juno or Hera, Danu, Mother Mary, Pachamama. So that's just a little sampling of that. Every culture, Spider Woman, every culture has a mother goddess because it is the original archetype, right? It is the original archetype, and it was believed and perceived that the original deity, before we came under patriarchal rule, the deity was across the world perceived to be feminine in nature, and that is because women give birth, and women have the power to birth that which replicates them and that which is different than them. Okay, and it's a very, very special archetype to be. It's a very special power to be able to have, and so the archetype was reflective of that. So for self-care, and this is the most important thing as far as balancing, the tools for taking care of the mother archetype are really to make time for yourself. I mean, all of this boils down to making sure that you are taking time for yourself and really claiming that time. Put it in your calendar, put an alarm on your phone, you have to make it happen, because it is always easy to be like, the kids need me, the dinner needs to be made, the pants need to be, stitched, whatever the thing is, the emergency, whatever the thing is that's coming up. It is so easy for someone who has an overactive, leaky energy mother archetype to always notice what else needs to be done for somebody else. And so it's really, first and foremost, making a decision that this is important to me. I am important to me. My health and well-being is important to me. And I am going to prioritize myself in whatever way I can. And really, like, maybe even making a contract with yourself, however you do it, it's an internal yes to the self, right? There may be healing involved with this. You might need to look at your codependency. You might need to look at why you are so busy, why this pattern of behavior, why it is so easy for you, why you, how keeping busy, caring for others takes you away from yourself. That was my story. I had a lot of codependency, and a lot of the codependency was really rooted in, as a healer, the mother archetype can be very strong with me. And plus I have Cancer rising. So I have a lot of that energy in me. And also it kept me from myself. It kept me from feeling the things that were there to be felt. And so it is a part of this is to be really okay with, and not just okay with, but to want to get to know yourself better, to want to feel the things that are there. So carving out time for yourself. This can be simple daily practices. I do recommend that you do something daily, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes. It is a big part of this energetic shift is the reclamation of your importance, right? So a cup of tea by yourself in the afternoon, turning your phone off, turning, right, all of your notifications, everything off, and just saying, like, I am going to be on my own for a moment. Journaling, having a sacred meal where you're really focused on bringing in the nourishment, like that Mama Gaia nourishment, right? The abundance of the earth is the mother archetype. The mother goddess gives us the abundance of the earth. And so really enjoying food or that tea or whatever you're bringing into your body, and really, really connecting into the nourishment of it, right? Really connecting into the nourishment as you take it into your body it's a simple practice, and it is extremely powerful. Giving gratitude for those blessings to the Mother Goddess is powerful. And then one other thing that I think is more of a ritual that I think is so important is an altar ritual to honor you in all of your facets. And so the suggestion I have, or the ritual that I came up with for you to practice, which I have shared before and which is really powerful, is to set up an altar. And this is going to be an altar to honor you. Right? You can incorporate goddesses and stuff. Mother Goddess energy would be really great here. Any of the goddesses I already shared about, or another Mother Goddess that speaks to you. You set up that altar to honor you, right? You can use like anything that resonates with femininity for you and with your Mother Nature. It could be things that you want to exalt. It could be things that you're focused on for healing. It could be shells, flowers, chalices, lunar objects, lace, anything feminine, right? Anything that resonates with your feminine nature. And then place images or mementos, photos or mementos of yourself from different times in your life. So for example, if you had a period of, like, let's say maybe you had postpartum depression after having a child, an image or something that reminds you of that period, placing that on the altar. An image of you after you decided not to have children, maybe that's the proper image for you. An image of you when you were celebrating with friends, an image of you when you were depressed, an image of you when you were in your maiden years or as you've come into crone years. Just different images or mementos of you that express the range of you over the course of your lifetime. And then have, for however many you have, let's say you have 5 of those, you're going to have 5 unlit candles. And you're going to then, you set all that up. And then when you go to the altar, you want to do an opening invocation to a Mother Goddess, so a little prayer here, calling in the Mother Goddess you feel most connected to. It also could be just source energy. It could be your higher self. It could be your inner Mother Goddess, whatever feels resonant for you. Just an opening invocation of gratitude. Thank you for supporting me on this journey. Thank you for showing me what I need to see. Thank you for being with me through my healing. Whatever resonates. This is about you and whatever supports you. And that's part of the power of this ritual, is that it is about you. It's all about you, and it's you claiming that you-ness of the ritual for yourself. You can have a tea with you as well. And then honor each of those versions of yourself, communicating with yourself at that time in your life. I see you. I honor you. I love you. Maybe I couldn't see that love in the moment, but you know what? I love you and I'm here for you. And I feel compassion for you. I feel connection to you. I feel disconnection from you, whatever is true for you. But having a conversation, a little dialogue with the energy of you at that time. Remember, in healing, in energy, there's no time nor space, right? So you can connect with all of those different aspects of yourself and really, really connect and feel that energy. And as you do for each one, light a candle, right? So lighting that fire for yourself at each stage of this life. And after you complete all of that, then whoever you're working with, goddess, higher self, source, go ahead and go into meditation with that entity, that energy, and feel that energy coming into your crown, and feel yourself breathing it in, feel it coming into your heart, feel yourself being filled up with the energy of that. I'm getting really hot as I show that, with the energy of that divine essence, and really as if you're drinking it in, right? You're bringing in this nourishment for yourself. Drink it into all of your pores. And then imagine it as you become completely filled up with it. Imagine it then radiating outward from you and outward to the altar and into the energetic representations of you from all of these different periods of your life, right? And feel the love of the goddess then, or source, right? Really filling up that other version of you. Giving her exactly what she most needs in that moment, letting her be nourished, right? Letting her be nourished. And do that for as long as that feels good and right. And then just take a few moments to journal afterwards. So I would love to know how this resonates with you, how the Mother Archetype shows up for you, what is alive for you in this process. Do you resonate with the codependent nature? Do you feel really imbalanced with it? If you do, what do you do to maintain that? Share it so other people can see as well. And if you enjoyed this video and if you enjoy what I'm doing, please subscribe to this channel. I post every first and third Monday of the month, and it is, all things divine feminine and healing. So much gratitude and love to you. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon. Bye.